Hi there, Godless Cranium. I just discovered your channel about 2 weeks ago by a video about Steven Banker's on the topic of objects and the legal ground for demons. I might actually make an uncalled for response video for that at some point, but not right now. Besides that, I've seen your channel intro, which is pretty creative by the way, and then found your response to Andrew's response to your challenge you gave in 2017. And that's my story so far. Now, I accept your challenge and have prepared my personal answer that hopefully meets all your conditions.
Oh, you think politeness and religion is your ally? You merely adopted the superstition. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see anti-theism until I was already a man. By then, religion was nothing to me. I am not afraid of your response. Bring it to me, and I will smother it in the darkness like I have all those who came before you. Before we begin the video, I just wanted to take a few seconds to thank all of you who wrote encouraging comments, bought merchandise, or became patrons after my channel was completely demonetized. I don't even know how to adequately convey my thanks, but it has inspired me and I hope you all enjoy the upcoming videos. So again, thank each and every one of you. Now let's hear what Zach has to say. He's responding to my challenge to Christians, which you can see on your screen now. Let's jump into the video.
You can't get away with it. In our very secular world, many break the law, and here's one reason why. Because they think that they can get away with it, that there won't be any repercussions, and often they're right. I mean, that seems like one of the main reasons why thieves, murderers, crime syndicates, terrorists and whatnot can continue to exist. Because they know that if they are skilled enough at what they do, that they don't have to face any consequences for their actions. And I don't think there's a secular way of fixing this. You can have as many police forces as you want, make a dictatorship, monitor the masses, but people will always try to and successfully commit crimes without there being any ramifications.
Except as sociologist Alessandra Dino points out, quote, mobsters don't just use religion in order to increase consensus and complicity for their actions, said Dino, who based her work on extensive interviews with former mafiosi and on their depositions at trials. By adopting pseudo-religious rituals or sitting in the first rows of pews at masses and processions, mobsters set themselves as models for other people. More importantly, she said, in doing so they create a mechanism to grant themselves impunity from guilt. For their crimes, mobsters, said Dino, believed to be moved by higher motives. They say to themselves, we did what we did because we were acting in the name of God's justice, which is higher than the state's. End quote. As you can see, crime syndicates often use religion to bolster their standing in the community, excuse their behavior, and rationalize their murderous tendencies. You also brought up terrorists, which surprised me since terrorist organizations are often deeply linked with religious ideologies. For example, ISIS is trying to implement Sharia law rooted in 8th century Islam. The Christian cult going by the name God's Army was responsible for kidnapping, child abuse, and child rape. The Lord's Resistance Army has killed and abducted thousands of people. Millions more were displaced from their homes. I mean, I could go on. There are many, many religious terrorist organizations now and in the past. You also insinuated that it's because we live in a secular world that we have crime when you began this segment by saying, quote, in our very secular world, many break the law, end quote. But do you think before secular governments, people didn't break the law? Do you think in the existing theocracies that crime doesn't exist? You're right to say that there isn't a secular way of making crime obsolete, but we can reduce it, and we have. For example, violent crime and property crime have dropped significantly since the 1990s in the US. For the past 2 decades, crime rates in Canada have been steadily declining. There's really no reason to believe that religiosity is responsible for these declines, especially since both Canada and the US are becoming less religious.
Now, if everyone would believe in Elohim, that's the Hebrew name of God from the Bible, for anyone wondering, this view would change, and you probably know why. If you believe that everything written down in the Bible is true, then that means you also believe in the afterlife, meaning heaven or hell, and to decide where you're going to end up in, you will meet your maker as a judge once you die. And death is the one thing none of us can avoid. It is the one absolute solid consequence, be it in 60 years or tomorrow in a car crash, it doesn't matter in this case. That means, once this is over, you will have to stand for all you ever did wrong, every crime you committed, if someone found out or not. Doesn't matter, because God knows about it.
Okay, so I've already shown you that some of the most religious people who also believe in a heaven and hell are capable of some of the worst atrocities you can think of. And if you believe everything in the Bible is literally true, You also believe that genocide can be sanctioned by God, that slavery can be done right if you follow the instructions laid out in the Bible, that children deserve to be mauled to death by bears if they call someone a baldy, and all kinds of other harmful nonsense.
Consequently, because we all suck at amending the law, we will be sentenced guilty and sent to hell, see it as a very hot jail, as a punishment. The only way of not losing that code would be by surrendering your life to Jesus, which would then lead you, a former criminal, away from crime anyway, and save you from hot jail by paying for you. But more on that at some other time.
So, 2 problems with that. If you can just surrender your life to Jesus and be forgiven, I'm not sure what prevents that criminal from thinking they can live a criminal lifestyle until they no longer can, and then surrendering their life to Jesus to feel better about themselves. Also, as far as criminality goes, everything I've read points towards atheists being underrepresented in American jails. Now, this data should be taken with a grain of salt, because some statistics lump atheists in with Scientologists and other non-mainstream religions. But nothing I've seen seems to suggest that atheists are any more prone to committing crime than a Christian, and there's a crap ton of Christians who believe in Jesus doing lots of crime out there. In fact, America, which is full of religious Christian people, represents about 4.4% of the world's population, but are responsible for incarcerating 22% of the world's prisoners. If I were a Christian, I'd be backing slowly away from any arguments that assert Christianity as a catalyst for reducing crime.
So, that was my first idea on the topic, and it's possible I will make more response videos in general, depending on what kind of, or if I get any reaction for this one. I hope someone listened till the end, and I'm eager to see the comments challenging what I said. Most of all, I want to thank you, Godless Cranium, for this challenge. It was fun to write the text, and it got me thinking. And I would be really glad to hear from you. P.S. Would you be fine with me praying for you? I'm just asking out of curiosity. I'm going to do it regardless. No, really. Have a nice day and an awesome marriage. Signed, Zach.
Thanks, Zach. I hope my response reaches your ears. P.S. I don't care whether people pray for me. If someone wants to mumble at their chosen invisible deity on my behalf, I'm cool with it, as long as they don't expect me to join them. And just before I let you all go, if you like the avatar I used in this video and want to wear it on an article of clothing, well, I have the deal for you. Simply visit my Teespring store, link in the description box, and you can own one attached to a t-shirt. That's it for this video. Take care, and cheers.